Good afternoon. Very happy to be here while the COP27 meeting is happening in Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt. We are here to discuss a very critical part of it, which is media and communication and climate change, especially in the context of Indian media and especially Telangana, from where this program is being aired. So welcome to all of you who are joining us. And I'd like to give my special thanks to the Council of Green Revolution and the Council for Earth Leadership and Sustainability for inviting me today to speak as well as moderate this fantastic panel. I say this is going to be a very interesting conversation because we are very fortunate to be joined by some brilliant speakers who have worked in both these fields, environment as well as media. To begin with, we have with us Dr. Narasimha Reddy Garu, who does not need any introduction. His research in policy, sustainable farming, SDGs is known across the country. He's known for environmental advocacy, working out of Andhra Pradesh, and on organic farming. He's also on the board of the International Federation of Organic Agriculture Movements. To give us a perspective on media, we have Mr. Bhumi. He is a senior reporter with the Indian Express. He has also worked in the Hans India and is presently based in Hyderabad, working with the bureau at the New Indian Express. He has covered a variety of subjects, including agriculture, allied sectors, forest, environment, tribal affairs, archaeology, heritage, politics, crime, rural development, information technology, and other subjects. We will also be joined by Mr. Dilip Reddy. He is the former RTI Commissioner and Executive Editor, Sakshi, and he's also the principal of the Sakshi Journalism School. Before I call the other speakers, I have a small few words to say about media and communication, having spent, I guess, half my working career in media and communication and the rest of the half in researching about it. It was, I think, in a few months, it was still summer, a few months ago, when I was sitting in a sweltering hot kitchen in a village in Rangareddy district, not too far away from Hyderabad. The family had 3 children and the husband was a tenant farmer. The woman farmer was making food on a wood stove and explained that she could not afford the LPG cylinder anymore. It had already, the cost of the LPG cylinder already crossed 1,000 rupees, and the family earned 250 to 300 a day, which paid for education, health, and all other expenses of the children. She explained that just 10 years ago, she would have made 5 to 6 rotis per person. Now she was making just 4. Now that was the kind of difference she was feeling in the consumption, which is a critical factor again, which doesn't come very often out in media. Now, she now buys on every ingredient for her cooking. Buys flour, buys vegetables, and all the other ingredients. None of it is grown anymore in the little garden or the little patch which she has at the back of her house. That adds to the cost and to the poverty of the family. While she was speaking, her eyes were watering. She was coughing while she made the food. I sat there talking to this woman farmer. And later that day, I too had a sore throat and developed a cough. Since the price of the LPG cylinder had increased and now touched 1,000, the households like this had to shift to firewood. She said she had respiratory issues and often went to the local hospital, but to no avail. This too adds to the cost of the family and to their poverty. The woman farmer said it is not easy to get firewood. There are no forests, no surplus trees to gather the wood from. The only reason for her to shift from cooking gas to wood was that wood was free. If it is not, that too adds to the cost of the family and to their poverty. As a policy, commodities that can add to poverty of a large segment of the people should be supported by the government. It is also to protect them from the impact of climate change, which affects the poor inordinately more than the rich. The LPG cooking gas hike had an economic aspect as well as a social one. Women were pushed from indoor to outdoor or the fringes of the house due to the pollution of the wood stove. Cooking gas ensured they were part of conversations within their spaces, while the wood stove excluded them from spaces away from groups. Just one aspect. I give this example to highlight that just one aspect of cooking gas has so many perspectives to explore and inform the policymakers. It is the job of the researchers as well as the media to have connected cooking gas price hike to climate change, to poverty, to gender, to economy. I mean, just to name a few aspects. Through this time when the cooking gas hike was happening, media was busy in minimizing the conversations around it. Inflation and price rise are topics that around the world lead to unpopular governments. With that fear, such topics are hidden or minimized. We had that happening in India also. The Institute of Perception Studies in New Delhi, which I had, conducted research of primetime TV to know how much time was spent talking about LPG gas cylinder, cooking gas cylinder price hike on television. So here are some of the findings. I now request Nikita to share the graphic and the screen for primetime tracker for 7th of May 2022. I'd like to note here that the cooking gas price hike happened 4 times this year. No, the other one. The blue one, please. May I request Nikita to please share the other creative?
1 second, Neelima garu. Team is working on it.
Yeah. So this thin red line series had come out of our research of critical issues and how much time is spent on them. Well, I mean, the thin red line is the amount of time spent out of the total study of, let's say, 5 or 10 media channels. So here is the graphic from our research on May 7th, 2022, when one of the 4 price hikes had happened. That is the total. We had analyzed 26,713 seconds of primetime television, out of which just 0.16 seconds was spent talking about the LPG cylinder price hike. Thank you, Nikita. So where is the space for climate change, the impact on the poor, the farmers, the children in Indian media? There is a massive gap in India between the ideal and the practice of media. The prime space is occupied by top politicians pushed by their ability to control the economics of news industry. If the top space is for sale to the highest bidders, what chance do the poor stand in making headlines? And yet, this issue cannot be left alone. It is not a fight from which we can withdraw or a position from which we can abdicate. We cannot lament the decline of media and go on with our lives. Why? Because issues like climate change need to be debated on media. We deserve it. Climate change would be at the center of any news about agriculture, industry, health, poverty, employment, youth, women, infrastructure, all production and all consumption. Every news should be seen through the prism of sustainability and environment, and that is the media we deserve. But what do we get? Climate change is one of the most discriminated subjects in media today. Not only does it seldom make headlines, it is still going through a phase of denial. To most policy makers and supporters of government, climate change is an argument given by the opposite side. Notwithstanding that India says beyond what India says, borders, within India, the fight is on between the environmentalists and the industry. The media one must not forget, is also an industry. And it sees climate change and environmental concern with a certain skepticism. There is worry that if climate issues are given focus, they would eventually hurt industry and business interests. Let me give another example of floods in Assam. That's those are the highlights when the media actually covers climate change issues or the impact of climate change. Assam floods in June 2022, more than I think about 200 people were killed. And now may I ask Nikita again to share the second and the last graphic, which we have for June 22, to just show you one more thin red line on prime time television. This is 15,000 seconds were covered. We tracked 15,000 seconds across several channels, and we have just 0.17% on Assam floods. In that time, there is no chance to talk about climate change, the various perspectives, as we just talked, the aspects of environment impact, and just how people are coping with these issues. Thank you, Nikita ji.